All right, guys, welcome to Unstuck with Hydro or Wellness Lab, the podcast where real people share the real stories behind getting their lives, their bodies, and their mindsets back on track. I'm your host, Bretton Hunt, and in every episode, we dive into powerful conversations with athletes, weekend warriors, health and wellness professionals, and everyday people who refuse to settle. These are the breakthroughs, the setbacks, the mindset shifts, the moments that get us unstuck. So today, our guest is one of the most brilliant and brightest minds in business in Arizona. In real estate, he's built a real estate empire, Petersen Properties and Management. And he is one of the minds that helped to bring Hydro Wellness Lab to fruition and is someone that has changed tremendously by use of the equipment at Hydro Wellness Lab. He's also my father-in-law, Kevin Petersen. How you doing today, Dad?
Good. Being your father-in-law is why you made that rosy introduction. That's amazing. I've never had that happen before. So disclaimer, some of that's true, but most of it's not.
No, most of it is all true. But but thank you for joining me today and being willing to talk and a little bit about your wellness journey and Hydro Wellness Lab a little bit. But before we dive into all of that, just tell us a little bit of how life was before you really started this wellness journey, kind of back in high school, what like your activity level and all that stuff.
High school? We're going to click back to high school?
Yeah.
You know, I grew up in Heber, Arizona, went to high school in Snowflake, Arizona, so the White Mountains of Arizona, cool country. Not a lot to do back in those days other than just play sports. So that's what I did. I played baseball, I played football, I played basketball, I did track. I did everything I could athletic wise. And we just enjoyed life. And so during those days, sports was a big part of my life.
What was your favorite sport that you played?
Well, all sports were favorite because I liked competition. I liked to compete and I liked to win. As I got into high school, I focused more on basketball, and that became the primary focus. Played a little bit of baseball, a little bit of football, and then as I entered my junior and senior year, I switched to track.
Track. Okay. So you did just about everything then.
Yeah, when I tell people the story as they look at me, that I was an all-state basketball player, and they can believe that to some degree. But when I tell people I was a pole vaulter, they start raising their eyebrows and questioning my integrity.
Well, I believe you. I'd like to see some videos of that back in the day, but that's awesome. So, and then I think I've heard the story right. I mean, you said you like to play basketball, but didn't you play pickup ball a couple of times with Dan Marley and a few of the other
Oh,
sons back in the day?
oh, that was after high school, and when I was first married, we used to play lunch ball at I think it was called City Square Athletic Club down in downtown Phoenix, and there was a place up in North Phoenix, I think it was called La Mancha. And every once in a while during the off season, some of the players would from the Suns would come and let us play ball with them. So that was kind of fun.
That's cool. All right. So now kind of diving more into your transformation that you've had over the last couple of years. Because you've gone through quite a bit of a transition. What did your everyday habits before all this happened, before Hydro Air Wellness Lab, before you started exercising more, eating a little bit better? What did your daily eating habits look like? What was your daily routine kind of like?
Gosh, you're gonna ask me to confess all my unhealthy sins. I don't know if I want to do this podcast or not. What was my eating habits like before I got on the HydroAir health kick process?
What was your what did an everyday routine kind of look
Well,
like for you?
this is unfortunate, but it was reality. Um, as you get married and you have kids and you have responsibilities to take care of, your business responsibilities, your church responsibilities, your family responsibilities, you're literally just going from the sun up to sundown all the time. And with that comes just horrible eating habits. And unfortunately, I uh, fell victim to drive-throughs and Big Macs and greasy French fries and things that I could just grab on the run. I remember right after I first got married, I was real fit at that time because I'd been very athletic up to that point in my life. I think when I got married, I weighed 100 and um, had a small six pack, maybe not a full six pack, but I definitely didn't have a pot belly. And and I remember I would go to Circle K, and this was before any of the ingredients were written on the packages. Today, you can find out what's in them. And I just fell in love with those Hostess crumb donuts and a big jug of chocolate milk. And I just started eating stuff like that and having no idea or no concept that that was the beginning of a very slippery slope on putting not good stuff into your body. And no matter how athletic you were, little by little, you were going to change and your body composition was going to change, and your mental focus was going to change, and your ability to be athletic like you always have been a little bit changes. Tell people that my wife, we had 7 kids, and I gained 10 pounds with each kid, and that I never lost it. And so I found myself unfortunate after lots of years of slowly eating the wrong things and exercising less and less over the years. I found myself, again, from my marriage weight of 200 or 170 pounds up to 370 pounds. So I'd gain, I guess that if I do the simple math, that's 200 pounds. So I added a person plus over all those years. And I recall back to my first recognition of of feeling like I was heavy was my wife back in 1990. So we'd been married 4 years. She was Mrs. Arizona, and we were going to do her final walk, and she was going to turn over her crown to the new Mrs. Arizona, and I'd allowed myself to get up to 207 pounds. And I was just embarrassed that I was going to have to go on stage and give up my bride, Mrs. Arizona, to the new Mrs. Arizona weighing 207 pounds. So I went to Jenny Craig and started their weight loss program. And by the time it was time for her to give up her crown, I think I'd gone down to back to 190 pounds. But that was my first like realization that, oh my goodness, you're getting fat, or you need to change. And now I would love to be 207 pounds.
You take that in a heartbeat.
That's my goal, is to get back to my Jenny Craig crisis weight. But I might get there eventually.
That's awesome. I appreciate your vulnerability in talking about that, and I'm sure like Jenny Craig was one of the things that you tried. And I'm sure you tried a lot of other things too throughout the years. I'm sure it wasn't just a progressive thing where you're saying, okay, well, I'm 190 pounds now. Oh, now I'm 207. Oh, but I'm fine. I'm
Oh
a
yeah,
little fat.
it was just a continued, then you justified 210, then 230, then pretty soon, oh gosh, I'm only 240, and gosh, then pretty soon, you're 260. Oh my goodness, what's happening? And then you buy every supplement, every gimmick that comes out, you drink every shake that comes out, try every diet fad, and every one of them you lose some weight, and then you get back into your old habits, and you gain it back. And we've all heard the story, the yo-yo effect of dieting, and that's the key, is you can't diet, you just got to change your lifestyle.
So would you say that's maybe why those different programs didn't work for you back in the days, just because you hadn't changed your lifestyle, or would you say that there were other things that
Yeah,
played?
it would always be a temporary change and nothing lasting.
Okay.
At least that was my experience, and I don't know if that's other people's experience or not, but yeah.
Sure. So you mentioned just a second ago that kind of the first little one, I don't know if I want to say like wake up call, the first little realization that, hey, I'm going in a direction I don't want to go right now, was when you hit 207. So what was the moment that really pushed you over the edge and said, I have to change now. Like, there are no ifs, ands, or buts about it now anymore. Like, I have to change now, and I'm going to change now.
Well, a couple of things happen. Number one, you start getting to an age where you realize that youth is gone, and you're staring at the back end of life instead of the front end of life. And so I was approaching the age of 60. So that was a monumental milestone in your mind that, oh gosh, I'm 60 years old, and I'm approaching 60 years old. And at that point, I found myself, like I said, 350, 360, 370 pounds, just incredibly huge in my mind. And the changing point was I was at Thanksgiving with my family at my son Adam's house, and all my grandkids were running around the backyard, and they wanted me to play with them. And they wanted me to either shoot hoops or jump on the trampoline or throw the ball or push them on the car. And I couldn't. I sat in a chair like an old fat man and couldn't get up and participate with grandkids. And that was the moment where I said, you know, things have to change. There's no reversal if I don't reverse now. Number one, it's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. And number two, I sat there on the chair and realized what I was missing out on. And it was literally missing out of it because I physically could not participate. And I was not even 60 years old yet. I was thinking I was 59 at that point, or a little bit younger, 58.
Mm-hmm. So in that moment, what change did you decide, okay, I'm going to start doing X now, right? Was it
So,
exercise? What was it?
what I did is I got on the internet and I searched fat camps. Where I'm gonna go to fat camp. I'm going to like leave and just go somewhere.
Like heavy.
Yeah. And I'm just gonna leave. And I had this thing in my mind where I was just gonna leave for 2 or 3 or 4 months, and I was gonna go this transition, and I was gonna come back, and everything was gonna be fine. And so as I was researching everything, I came across a place in Carlsbad, California called PFC. And they had just a magnificent setup. And if I have the ability to give them accolades or a shout out, absolutely. AAA, fantastic, off the charts, amazing. And what I did is I did that. I checked into PFC and I went to California, and they have a program that's where you stay at a resort, and they have a facility, and they get you out of bed every morning at 6 o'clock, and start you start the process, and you start moving your body, and you start eating the right amount of food and the right kinds of food. And they give you breakfast, and they give you lunch, and they give you dinner, and they give you snacks, and they have classes throughout the day when you're not exercising to teach you about nutrition and proteins and fats and the right portions and the right kinds and the macros and the micros and the calories, and the program is just unbelievable. And it was good for me. It was the first time in my life that I was able to focus on me versus church and kids and family and business and everything. So not only was it a good physical transition, it was an amazing mental transition, because I've always felt guilty focusing on myself. And for the first time in my life, for hours and days at a time, it was all about me, which was actually weird. I had to go through a major psychological and mental adjustment on that. But the first morning, I remember I got out. First of all, I had to get out of bed at 6 o'clock. And you got to realize, when you get heavy, like I was heavy, basic movements are difficult. And I know that's hard to understand, but getting out of bed is difficult. You can't tie your shoe because you can't reach your shoe. Your belly gets in the way. You got to have a shoehorn, or or you got to prop your leg up at a certain place, and you got to hold your breath in order to get to it. Basic quality of life movements become difficult. And so I didn't want to get out of bed at 6 o'clock in the morning and realize I had to exercise. And the first thing they did is they were going to time you walking or running a mile. And I'm embarrassed to say, I couldn't even bring myself to walking. So what I did the first day, and what I did for a long period of time, is I laid on my back and I stretched while everybody was walking or jogging and doing all their different protocols. And that's where I started. I started stretching. I felt like a big walrus laying on the ground. Whoa! But I was stretching, but I was moving and I was focused. And I remember the little place I was staying, I would guess that their facility from the casitas I was staying in was probably not more than a football field away, and had a gentle incline. And again, I'm embarrassed to say, but just to be transparent on where I was at, to walk from my room to the PFC facility, I would have to stop and rest twice. So that's where I started. And I started moving from stretching to walking to doing all the stuff they were telling me to do. And they were feeding me good food, and I was putting the right portions in my body, and I was getting in a better mental place. And I started losing about a pound a day. And I stayed at PFC for several months. I don't know if I think you as the family, I don't know, did you guys came over and visited me one time. I just checked out and I went over to I was at PFC and I started moving my body and they would go on these hikes and there was this one hill that we would hike. It's called I think it was called Four Peaks or something, but it was a straight up hike. And I remember the first time I went there, I walked a little bit and stopped and had to come back. And every Friday we'd go to this spot to see where we were at. And then next week I walked a little bit further and then stopped. And then the next time, then the next week I walked further, but stopped multiple times to get further. And I just remember the first time one of my colleagues there cheered me on as I summited the very top, and I made it to the top of the hill, and I made it, but I stopped probably 50 times, and it took me forever to get to the top, but I got to the top of the hill. And then before I left, I was able to make that hike and get to the top of the hill without even stopping. So I went from having to rest twice to walk 100 yards to not being able to walk a mile. I had to start by stretching. to being able to summit the top of this hill without resting. And that was over a period of 4 months. And so I went from like 300 and I don't know, 50, 60, 70 pounds in this, it was a big number. And I came home at just above 300 pounds. So I'd gone through this major transition and transformation, both physically and mentally. Um, and I was getting close to the 300-pound mark. I wasn't even thinking about the 200-pound mark, but I could move again. I mean, I was hiking to the top of a mountain. I was starting to do things that I wasn't able to do before, like tie your shoe or just the basic functioning things in life. And so I thought I'd conquered it. I'd learned they'd been feeding me good food and I was comfortable with portions and hadn't been to fast food or anything for that 3 or 4 months. I think it was 4 months I was there.
Yeah, you were gone for quite a while. I
Yeah.
remember people always asking, "Hey, where's Kevin? When he's coming back?" He's over in California. He moved over there for a while.
Yeah, but it was fantastic. I might add, very pricey. But at this time, he didn't care what the price was because I was to the point where I was either going to die eh, or not. And so I got down to 300 pounds, almost a little above 300 pounds, and then something horrible happened. I came home, and when I came home, the drive-throughs were there, the pressure was there. Nobody was cooking my food for me anymore. I had learned how to eat, but I'd learned on it from a book what to eat, what portions to eat, what not to eat, but it wasn't being prepared for me. I had to prepare it. And then COVID happened. And you know what COVID did with all of our brains?
Yeah,
Messed us all up. And to make a long story short, I, over the next year, went back after spending all that time and all that money and summiting that mountain. I literally went back up to where I started. I lost all the progression that I made. We were in the middle of COVID and I gained everything back. And and COVID was kind of wrapping up where they were starting to come up with the shots and stuff and different things. And so I decided, after this whole experience of having this fantastic experience and then having this complete failure again, to do good again. So I went back to PFC and I went through that entire experience all over again, literally all over again.
back to stretching.
Stretching and walking a little bit and eating right. But then but while I was over there, I started doing something a little bit different. I would be part of the program for a week and then I would be on my own for a week. So I go out and exercise on my own. I wouldn't be part of the program. I'd cook for myself and then I would be in their program for a week. And then I would be out of the program for a week, could do my own thing. And so that helped me starting to transition to being able to be on my own and not, because I realized that just being in their program, I had to still eventually come back to life. That was a nice transition. So I went through the entire program again and got back, lost 50, 60 pounds again over a 3 or 4 month period. And that brought us to September of 2023. I came home. And that's when I had my health issue.
Yeah. Well, before we dive into that, I think it's key that one, we all understand that we all start somewhere, and it's important to one, be honest with ourselves of where we are, and everyone's at a different starting place. I mean, I don't know what it would be like to watch other people walk around the track, run around the track, and You're just saying, hey, I can't. I physically can't. And it would have been so easy for you to just say, I can't do that. It's a walk down there and it's a walk back, and I'll just skip out on that. But you showed up anyway and you did what you could. And that it paid dividends in different ways, mentally, and showing yourself that, hey, I can do this.
Right.
Right. And it gave you the confidence to then go back and do it again, but do it in a different way, like you said, where you're making yourself a little more accountable and helping yourself really learn how to do all this by yourself. So, but yeah, then we get to September of 2023, and then a different thing happens for you.
Right.
You want to
So
tell me about
that's when I started having shortness of breath and having some symptoms that were not good. I had a good friend, Pat Smith, that had kind of gone through some things before, and I was talking to him, saying, I'm not feeling good, I'm tired, kind of have a shortness of breath, I'm having pains in my chest. And he, oh, don't mess with that. You need to go to this hospital, you need to do this, you need to do this. And so I took some investors on a tour one morning, and I got finished with it, and I was just feeling horrible. And I went into the doctor, or into the ER, where my friend had recommended that I go, and was just having challenges. And they did all the vitals on me and ran all the tests, and said, you're fine, that you're and and keep taking care of yourself. And my friend Pat, he came to the hospital, and he just wouldn't let me go. And I knew something was wrong, and he knew something was wrong. So what they finally agreed to do was to do an angiogram, where they go in and check your heart valves, and whatever's in your heart.
sure.
And when they went in there, they found that I had one of my what do they call it? Arteries.
Arteries, yeah.
Yeah, one of my arteries was 90% blocked, and they put in a stent, and that was a wake up call. Now, I'm grateful that we have such modern day technology that they can run something up they went in through my wrist and into my heart, and found the blockage and stuck a stent in there, and fixed me all up. I'm grateful for that type of a technology. But that was a wake up call that even though you've again lost a bunch of weight, that's your insides are still messed up from the abuse that the Big Macs and the greasy tacos and the stuff that we should never eat, that we ate all the time, had clogged one of my arteries, and I didn't have a heart attack, but could have had a heart attack. And so that was a wake up call for me. And also the beginnings of my next step. And that's why we have the Hydro Lab, the Hydro Air Lab. So
Yeah. I remember you texting everyone and saying, yeah, I'm going to the hospital, or I've checked in. And yeah, Pat came, and, thank you, Pat, if you're listening. We appreciate it, because had you not been there and been advocating for dad, then, who knows what would have happened. Right.
Pat saved my life.
So we appreciate that. But I remember afterwards, we're talking, and we're all working on Petersen properties. Adam, Tanner, myself, Bryce, and Bryce, being a PT, had kind of decided that he wanted to kind of go back into that world of PT and didn't really want to do real estate anymore. And I just remember walking in, and you guys were sitting here talking about different things, and you called me in and just said, hey, come here. We're discussing this thing. And you threw a water treadmill up there on the TV, and you're like, you ever seen one of these things before? And, no, what is this? And showing me videos, and yeah, we're thinking about, putting a facility over here with treadmills in it, water treadmills.
Just for me to go, we were going to open a business. It was just for me to take care of myself.
Yeah. It's like, we're going to buy one water treadmill, and it's just going to be in here, and I'm going to have access to it, and I'm going to be able to go and run on it. And I think you'd mentioned you'd been exposed to those a little earlier on. I don't remember how.
Yeah, years ago, during one of my yo-yo weight and physical fitness time periods, we had an office over on Warren Road, and there was this fantastic trainer. His name was Uzor, and he was a great guy. if Uzor's out there and he's watching this, you're amazing. But he had a water treadmill inside his personal training.
Oh, wow.
I would go over there and run on this water treadmill, and that's how I got introduced to the whole water treadmill. But as I had this this stent put in my heart, and I was now around 300 pounds, and realized I couldn't go back up to 370 again, that I had to keep going the other direction. I was thinking, okay, what can I do besides implementing what I've learned at PFC? What can I do to continue my exercise program? And I recalled the success I had on being able to run in water, and it gives you the ability to get your cardio up, but it doesn't pound on your joints. And even though I was down to just over 300 pounds again, 300 pounds is still a lot of weight.
Sure.
I wasn't out of the woods. So there was still a lot of pounding going on. So I still had limitations on my movement, even though it was significantly more than what I'd had before. So we looked into the water treadmill. Let's buy a water treadmill. How much does a water treadmill cost? $60,000, $70,000, $80,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's buy a water treadmill.
We just spun out of control for a little bit there, because we're looking at this, and then Bryce says, oh, because eventually we had then pivoted to it just being a facility for you with just a water treadmill, that we were just going to, okay, let's make this thing something.
Well, that's when Bryce decided, hey, I really want, Bryce is a doctor in physical therapy, and he started thinking, well, maybe I ought to get back into physical therapy.
Yeah, and I think too, if you're realizing, like, if this can benefit you, well, there's a ton of other people here that could also benefit from this, that are in the same boat, that are struggling with the same thing, and they could benefit from this. And then Bryce is sitting in here, he said, well, I did a study on these treadmills called Alter G treadmills in college, and we should look into those. And then that thing evolved, and we decided, okay, well, we're going to go microgravity treadmill, same thing, just different wordage. And we got two of those, and then
the boost.
Yeah.
I found out the boost was the best.
And we said, all right, we're going to fill this facility full of boost treadmills and water treadmills. And it's just going to be the Hydro Air Treadmill Lab.
Right? Yeah, it's going to be just water treadmills and air treadmills for people that struggle on air treadmills.
And then through it all, we're all talking, and I said, well, a lot of people right now, they're into cold plunging. And it's funny, because I said that with no intention of me getting into a cold plunge.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, if we're going to open this thing, you might as well throw a cold plunge in there. That seems to be a fad.
Yeah, let's go buy a cold plunge.
Let's go buy a cold plunge.
But then you need hot plunge.
Yeah, we need a hot plunge. And then Adam comes in and he goes, well, I ain't getting in no cold plunge. We should get a cryo machine. That's way better, and just cold air. And we're looking at that. Okay, all right, well, let's get a cryo machine. Oh, we should get massage equipment. We should get a TRX bridge. We should get all these bands, and we should get, and then let's get a red light therapy bed. And I mean, we just went crazy on all this stuff that's wellness. But it all kind of started with you saying, like, I want to get my life back on track, and all these things are showing and shown that they can help me get my life back on track. And so I would ask you, like, since this investment of Hydro Air, and since using the equipment there, what changes have you noticed since then, since this incident with the stent? Because you didn't go back to PFC after. I know you.
No, I didn't go back. I didn't go back to PFC, and we opened up the Hydro Air lab. It evolved, as you said, over a period of time. And we'll get into the details of the Hydro Air lab here in a few minutes, which is like off the charts amazing. But so I continued my journey. So I lost another 40 pounds. So right now I'm in that 260 pound range. So what I've been able to do is take that next step from 300 up to, or starting at 370 down to 300, back up to 370, back down to 300, the heart stent, and now instead of going back up to 370, I've trended down to 260, and that's primarily a result of a couple things. Number one is I was in a better mental state the second time around. Number one. Number two, when I did the alternating PFC for a week, and then I was on my own over there for a week, having to exercise and cook on my own. I started learning how to cook and eat on my own better. I'm not perfect now, but it was better. So I started creating the tools of being able to do it on my own. And then when you add, in addition to that, the Hydro Air Lab and all the tools that we had there, then that just gave me the ability to hit that next 40 pounds. And that's where I'm at now. And my next tranche, if you will, is to try to do 220. Then eventually I'm going to break that Jenny Craig weight that got me started in the whole I'm a fat man program. I got to lose weight.
Hey, I believe in you. I know you can get there. I know you can do it.
So if I ever break 200 pounds, that'd be amazing. But I'm still in the journey, and I'm still fighting it. And I'd love Big Macs, and McDonald's is still there, and I can't have Big Macs anymore. But every once in a while, I'll slip off the wagon. But now when I go to get a Big Mac, I'll take 2 bites and throw the rest away. It's like, so I nibble, I take a couple of nibbles of my Mac and versus eat the whole thing. But I got to get away from that too. I mean, but on occasion I'll slip up.
Yeah.
But I have my whole mindset's different now. My ability to make decisions, my resolve, my knowledge, my understanding, my commitment, it's different now.
For sure. And that's a huge part of the weight loss thing too, is the mental part. I think we forget a lot about that too. And I was talking to a friend of mine. He's a little younger than me, probably about 2 years younger than me, and he was telling me that he was, super heavy, and he was all heavy throughout high school, and he lost the weight, 70 pounds, and then he gained it back again. And he realized when he did it that he had done it wrong, right? He all he did was run, and he didn't lift, he didn't do all these other things. And so he said, I lost the weight, but I still didn't look happy. I was still not happy with what I was seeing. And then the scale, he just talked a lot about, you have to get past that scale weight mentality, because muscle weighs more than fat, right? So if you're putting on more muscle, like, that's a good thing, right? So he talks a lot about looking at the overall picture of everything mentally and physically, and hey, what are you doing in the gym? What does it look like for you in the closet when you're putting on your pants? Are your pants looser? Is your belt buckle going up a notch, right? Those types of things too are huge wins versus just seeing a number on a scale go down, 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 because sometimes those things will just plateau off. So
that's why you got to use the body scan.
That's right. Yeah. I forgot about the body scanner. Yeah, we went and bought that. That was a Tanner find.
Yeah.
But so kind of talking about HydroAir now. So you
can I before we get into HydroAir, there's a part of my story I just want to tell.
Yeah, for sure.
That I missed. Yeah. That I think that was monumental for me.
Okay.
Remember where this whole thing started? I was at Thanksgiving playing with my grandkids, and I couldn't play with my grandkids.
Right.
I had to sit in the chair.
Mm-hmm.
They had to bring food to me. I can't get my own food. It's ridiculous. So not this Thanksgiving, 2025.
To 2024, right?
But Thanksgiving 2024. Remember what I did?
Yeah, you issued a challenge to all your grandkids to beat you up Poston Butte. Yeah, they're in Florence.
Butte Mountain there in Florence. So that was big for me. This whole journey started with, I couldn't play with my grandkids. I couldn't get out of the chair to play with them in Thanksgiving of 2022. Is that what it would have been, 22 or 21?
Would have been one of the, yeah, probably 22.
22?
Yeah.
2 years later, racing them all to the top of a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And that was big.
Yeah.
That was big for me. I don't know if it was big for them. They enjoyed beating me up there. And I think they all beat me, but the point is that we climbed a mountain together, and I was climbing the mountain with them versus sitting in a chair. And that was a big mental paradigm achievement in my goal. So in what I've gone through. And so I go back to that several times in my mind when I start slipping, realizing, do I want to be in the chair or do I want to be on the top of the mountain?
I like it.
And so far, I want to be on the top of the mountain with
Yeah.
the kids, not in the chair. So that's where I was at. That's where I'm at now. And now let's talk about the lab.
Yeah. So I guess I would ask you, for how it's obviously helped you a lot. And so how did it help you, and then how can it help other people that are in your similar situation?
So let me tell you a little bit about the HydroAir lab. First of all, let me tell you where we even got the name HydroAir. HydroAir is because we started with the water treadmills, hydro. Air is we added the boost air treadmills. So therein lies the name. HydroAir is the two key pieces of equipment at the HydroAir is the water and the air treadmills. And these are they are life-changing pieces of equipment that places around town do not have. People don't invest that kind of money in the typical fitness facilities. They're very specialized, but they are fantastic. You are able to run. And if you're an athlete, like I was my entire life, and there's many people that were athletes, they haven't ran for years. And so when they get on either the Boost treadmill or the HydroWorks treadmill and they're running again, there's this euphoria. There's endorphins and there's all kinds of like positive, amazing things that happen in your mind that, oh my goodness, it's like this thing that was so natural to you for years and part of your life that was taken away from you. You're doing it again. You're able to run on air. You're able to run in the water. And just to be able to run, in some situations, people just able to walk and to get exercise of movement is amazing. I'll get people on one of these treadmills and I'll look at them and I'll say, how long has it been since you ran? And they're running and they'll say, I haven't ran for 25 years or I ran for 20 years. I can't remember the last time I ran. Yeah. And there's just this feeling of achievement that's just infectious. And so those are the two marquee pieces of equipment. And that's the name HydroAir. I got on a tangent. What was the question?
Just how would you say it helped you move forward on your journey?
Oh, okay. So let me tell you about the HydroAir. So those are the two pieces of equipment. But I think a lot of people are this way. I have always been, not when I was younger, but after I got older and heavier and I'm always uncomfortable going into the big gyms. I don't know what it is. Some people feed off the energy of hundreds of people exercising and lifting weights. We can go into the psychology of why people like that, and it's a positive thing, and why people are uncomfortable with it. And I think there's a degree of some people that are uncomfortable being in the large gyms. And I was one of those that I just was uncomfortable being in there for whatever reason. The HydroAir is not like that. The HydroAir, first of all, it's a private facility and it's a small facility. And in order to get into the HydroAir, you have an app on your phone because the doors are locked all the time. So you're only able to enter if you have membership. And it's secure and it's private. And that's the first part of it that I like. The second part of it is this. Is HydroAir a gym? But yeah, it is. Because you can do workouts and you can do weights and you can do stretching and you can do bands and you can get all the necessary movements and exercises you need as if you were at a gym. It's not a typical gym, but yeah, it's a gym. Is HydroAir a spa? No. But yeah, it is, because you can go in and you can do the massage tables, and you can do the back massage, you can do the hydro massage, and you can do the red light therapy, and you can do the roller massage, and you can do all the things that make you just feel good. And is it a place that gives you healing? Yes, because you have all the components of healing. You have all the components of being accountable. The HydroAir Wellness Lab has evolved into a perfect facility for wellness. Sometimes I go in and I only have time, and I only am going to jump in the cryo chamber for 3.5 minutes, and it helps my back pain, and I'm done. Sometimes I go in and I am doing red light therapy for 15 minutes, and I'm doing the leg compressions, and I'm done. Sometimes I'm going in and my legs and my back hurt. I'm getting on the water, what's it called?
The hydro massage.
Hydro massage bed, and I'm staying on there for 15 or 20 minutes, or I'm getting on the back stretcher. I'm stretching my backs. So sometimes I'm just going in there to do certain things to make you feel better physically and also relax you mentally. Then other times I'm going in there and I'm working out. I'm on the water treadmill, and I'm running, sprints, and I'm getting my heart rate up, and I'm bringing my heart rate down. I'm doing HIIT exercises. And sometimes I don't want to do the water, so I'm doing the air, and I'm just doing the same stuff that I would do at Orange Theory, but I'm doing it safely, and I'm not hurting myself. And I'm doing the HIIT exercise, and I'm getting all the benefits of it. But what's nice about it is when I do that, because of the water treadmill, the air treadmill, I can wake up in the morning and I'm not hurting. I can get out of bed because it doesn't pound your joints, and it doesn't hurt you. And sometimes I'm going in there and I'm spending 3 or 4 hours. I'm doing everything. I mean, I'm scanning my body to see where I'm at. And we've got this fantastic body scanner that can tell if you lost 2 inches off your waist, or you gained 2 inches off your waist, or if your thighs are bigger or smaller. I mean, it's a fantastic. Sometimes I'm doing the measurements. Sometimes I'm doing and then I'm doing the water treadmill, or I'm doing the air treadmill, and I'm doing the cryo chamber, and I deal with neuropathy now. So the most amazing things I do for neuropathy is the vibration plate, and I also do the hot. I don't get all the way down in the cold plunge, but I'll do the contrast therapy, where I'll stand in the hot tub for 2 or 3 minutes, and I'll go to stand in the cold tub, and I'll go back and forth. And when I do that, that's just like fantastic for my legs for the day. So sometimes I'm doing that, and I could just go on and on and on. I mean, we even got what's that thing that Savannah uses? I never use it. Pilates. We even got a
Oh yeah.
Pilates table. So you can go in there and do Pilates. My wife, Becky, she's like, adamant on the red light therapy. She's consistent 3 times a week, red light therapy. And I don't understand all the technology behind that red light therapy machine, but we bought the best red light therapy machine on the market. But there's people that just swear by the results and the benefits of this red light therapy. Messages after text messages from folks that are just like, oh, I wasn't able to do this. No, I'm able to do that. And, I was taking pain meds, and now I'm not taking pain meds. I was, couldn't sleep at night. Now I sleep well. I mean, all kinds of things. And I don't understand any of it. All I know is it seems to be working. People just love that bed.
Yeah, no, that bed is, I mean, we could do a whole episode on why that bed is better than any other bed out there on the market, what it all does, the science behind it. It's all backed up. Red light therapy is just amazing.
But think about this. I was spending, I don't remember. I think, was it $5,000 a week? Something like
Yeah,
that.
something like
Some
that.
kind of crazy number to be a PFC.
Yeah.
and it was fantastic. What's the special you guys are running now? $249
$249.
for $249 a month. You can take care of yourself with equipment and a facility like we've got. Why would not every person in my world that's trying to figure out how to take care of themselves, to be better, to be healthy, to 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 look for and to anticipate and to do everything you can to increase longevity in your life? Why would you not invest $249 a month to have the access to a $70,000 boost air treadmill, or $70,000 water treadmill, or $110,000 cryo chamber, or, I mean, it's like having your own personalized gym in your house where you have hundreds of thousands of dollars of specialized equipment that you can have access for $249.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like, it's amazing. It's a gift. It is. I must tell you this: what our family is provided, what we have built, is a gift to me and my family. But right now, we're offering that gift of wellness through this facility, and a place that's absolutely amazing, with amazing help like yourself and my son Bryce to assist in the journey for $249 a month. That's a gift. That's our gift to this area right here. And as soon as we have, I don't know what the magic number is going to be, 100, 150, whatever that number is. Once we hit that golden number where the facility pretty much feel good
it's
and not
like
overused.
exclusive, private.
Yeah.
Thing.
Then that gift's not going to, I mean, that gift's going to stop, because it's going to be limited to that special group of people that have the ability and are continue to be members of this facility. So I would recommend to everybody that you got to come check this place out. You've got to take full advantage of it. It's open from 4 a.m. to 11 o'clock at night. So you can go in and use it anytime you want. There's scheduling apps if you want to schedule, and the the red light therapy and the treadmills. I mean, everything is just set up like perfect. I mean, it's amazing. And then if you want to do extra physical therapy treatments for Bryce, and we didn't even talk about this shockwave therapy machine we just bought. I mean, we just bought what's it called?
By Stort.
Right? Yeah, I mean, we bought it out of Switzerland. It's the best shockwave therapy machine on the market. And I don't know all the technology behind it and what it does. All I know is people that are recovering from certain illnesses and injuries, and people dealing with neuropathy and all kinds of things. It does wonders. It increases the healing process. It expedites the healing process. It does things that helps your body heal itself quicker. Is the way I understand it. I've just started the treatments on my neuropathy using the shockwave, and I'm looking forward to seeing what benefits I get from that. But yeah, we've got a facility that I built for myself to continue with my journey. It's being run by Breton and Bryce. Breton's my son-in-law, and Breton's my son. They're doing a fantastic job, and I would invite everybody to come and join me in my next level, because I'm in the middle of the journey. I mean, you're going to see me hopefully go from 260 to 240 to 220, and then I'm going to break my Jenny Craig weight and be below 200, and who knows, I might live forever.
There you go. Yeah, I want to see you do it, and I have no doubt in my mind that you can do it.
What other questions you got?
Yeah, so one more question for you. So, title of the podcast being Unstuck. all of us get stuck in life. You were stuck in this rut for a really long time. So if you could just say something to anyone out there that's in the same like phase of life that you were in, right? I wouldn't say you're in the same phase anymore. You've changed. It's evolved, and you're still on the journey. You're still, this isn't the end goal, right? You're
Right.
still going to keep going. But what would you say to someone that is at that weight that they're just like, man, I don't know if there's hope for me. Like, what would you tell?
A couple of days ago, I was contemplating and praying about life, and I had this little quote come to my mind that I wrote down. I'll leave you with that. In 12/13/25, I said, stop trying, start doing. Trying assumes failure will occur. Successful people do or not do things that unsuccessful people are not willing to do or not do. So I guess my answer to your question is do. Don't
Do it.
say I'm going to just go do it. That's what
Yeah.
I did. I just went and did it. That's what I'm still trying to do is do it. I'm going to quit trying because there's just a paradigm of thinking for me a couple of days ago. If I keep saying, oh, I'm trying, that just assumes I'm going to fail.
Right.
In the word trying, and again, I'm not trying to say trying is on a quote, but it's I think it's the next level of thinking that I needed in my life. Okay, just start doing and trying assumes there's going to be a failure. I don't have time to fail anymore. I got to just do,
Just do,
just
right?
do.
Just like what does Yoda tell Luke Skywalker in Empire Strikes Back? Do or do not. There is no try.
There you go. I
Right?
like that.
I like that. Yeah.
So if you do, you're unstuck.
That's right. Yeah. And that I think that's the biggest thing is being honest with ourselves and just saying, okay, I put myself in this predicament, whatever the predicament is,
Right.
and saying, I'm the one that's gonna fix it.
Right.
No one else is gonna do it for me. It's gonna be me.
Right.
I'm gonna do it. So, but
yeah.
yeah, do you have anything?
Start by stretching.
Yeah.
We have a stretch table.
There you go. Yeah. If that's where
you
you
just
gotta
show
start.
up and you stretch.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you just start moving your body.
Right.
Start educating yourself on what to do and what not to do. And then do
Or do not. There
do
is
that.
that. Perfect. Well,
Awesome.
hey, thank you, Dad, for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I feel like there was a lot of really good pieces of information that you shared, and it can be really beneficial for everyone that listens. So, if you're listening, thank you for listening. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, please subscribe so you don't miss another episode. Most important thing, though, that I would appreciate is if this resonated with you, that you share it with someone that it could benefit. So, again, thank you for joining us on Unstuck. And remember, progress begins with one step. We'll see you next time.